Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Hopefully this one will be better than the last video that I made. But basically in today's tutorial, I'll teach you guys how to use Visual Studio Code because I know it's pretty weird to code this or code that without even knowing what you're using. So I could tell you to write a div, but if you don't understand what you're writing in or what you're even doing, then you're going to have a lot of trouble coding later on when you start to make more complex projects. So today we're going to go over Visual Studio Code. Here is my Visual Studio Code that I pulled up right here. You don't have to worry about your version of Visual Studio Code looking exactly like mine because I have different extensions. But basically, you go to code.visualstudio.com/download. You download Visual Studio Code for your version of Windows or Mac or Linux or whatever operating system you use. And then here you have Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to go over the main features that you should know when you're programming. So let's begin with the Explorer tab. Explorer, basically what this is the place where you're going to create your files, like your index.html file, your styles.css file. Basically, when you're coding and you're going to make files, you're going to make it inside the Explorer tab. So here I've just made an index.html file. Here I established a div in a paragraph. Hello world. Basically, the Explorer tab is where you're going to write all your code and where all your files are going to go. And then the next important place is source control. So when you're done writing your program, you're going to go to source control and then you're going to commit your code onto GitHub. So basically what this is for people that don't know, GitHub is a website where you can put your code and other people can visit your profile and then edit your code. I'll go over GitHub in further detail in another video, but basically just know that source control is one important feature that you're going to learn later on. And then finally, the most important thing, or one of the most important features, is the extensions. And extensions, basically, it's self-defining. The extensions, you add different types of extensions. You add different types of extensions to your Visual Studio Code account. So for example, two important extensions that you're probably going to use in this entire series is one, LiveServer. So put in LiveServer. Basically what this is when you publish your code, right, or when you write your code, you can go download the extension and then you can press go live to run a live server. And what this is, basically you can visualize your code. So instead of just writing a bunch of code blocks, now you can see what you actually write in like a local environment. So now that I made a live server in port 5500, I can go into here, Visual Studio, or I can go into my tab. I can type in 127-0.0.01, then 550, and basically there's the div that I created and there's the hello world that I made. It's here, and if I want to add to it, let's say I want a button. This button can say like click me, and then this button can source to itself, to source to root. There you go. Now you have a button that says click me. The next important extension I would use is Boilerplate. And what this is basically, instead of writing a bunch of setup code, you can have it all written for you. All you need to do is, once you download this, you can go to index.html. Let's delete this. And then let's type in boilerplate. And then boom, that's it. have all this starter code written for you. You don't need to have any setup when you write your HTML code. Don't worry about what everything here does. I'll teach you guys later on, but just know that you can write all your code here. Hello world. And then here later on, this will be important. You can link your style sheet to your HTML code, so you can add a bunch of different styles to your elements. So like in the last video for the divs, you were able to add like a red border to that one div or to the outer div, and then you're able to like color your text, or you can do other stuff like changing the font of your text or styling your elements so that it looks a certain way. And yeah, basically that's Visual Studio Code for you. And oh, one more thing, you can go to settings here. I encourage you to play around with this a little bit. You can do a bunch of different things. Like for example, you can change the font size of your coding environment. If it just looks way too small for you, you can increase the font size, or you can change the font family to, I don't know, whatever you want. If you like Times New Roman instead of Courtier New, then you can do that. And you can also change the you can also change the environment to be light mode or dark mode. I prefer light mode, but a lot of people, they prefer dark mode. I'm just a light mode type of guy. And so yeah, you guys can play around with the settings to customize your development environment however you like it. And that's basically the end of this video. It's pretty short. It's just basic setup on how you're gonna code in the future. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask it, and I'll see you guys later.